Hello students. So once again and one another feature of the matter that we have to discuss right now. So one thing that one state of matter can be converted into another state very easily just by change of their temperature. So this feature now we have to discuss that these states are interconvertible. So here what we are going to discuss is that these states are interconvertible. So this we have to discuss. So you also have this this knowledge. Daily you put the water inside the freezer and it comes out in the form of ice. That means liquid state has been converted into solid. Similarly, daily we boil something, we prepare the food in the kitchen, then there is a lot of evaporation and boiling happens. So we know practically that states are interconvertible. Now this feature we have to study in the science, in the chemistry, that what exactly happens in this interconversion. So I am taking a very simple and very common, very frequent example to understand the interconvertibility of the states as the H2O gas, that is water in the gaseous state. This converts into H2O liquid, and this H2O liquid further converts lead into H2O solid. So these are the three states of H2O. The gaseous state that we call water vapors, that we call water vapors. This is water and this is ice. Now what is happening here, that in case of H2O gas, the temperature is, if you record the temperature of this water vapors, the temperature is 100 degrees Celsius or more. For water, the temperature can be anything less than 100. Here the temperature less than 100 degrees Celsius, and here the temperature is 0 degree Celsius. So at 0 degree Celsius we get the ice, at 100 degrees Celsius we get the water vapors. So in case of water vapors, the temperature is 100, but it can be even more than 100. And in case of ice, the temperature is 0, but can be even less than that of 0 degrees Celsius or less. And similarly, 100 degrees Celsius or more. And here, this you have to understand that 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, any temperature can be suitable for the liquid state. And this all we are talking when the conditions are atmospheric, means when 1 atm pressure is maintained. So what atm pressure is? The pressure exerted on us by the atmosphere we call the atmospheric pressure. So atmospheric pressure has its own values. I would like to say the values of 1 atmospheric pressure so that you can understand well that what atm is. 1 atm pressure is 760 millimeter of mercury. This also we call 760 torr, and this is also equal to 1.01 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square. this also we write 1.01 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. This also we write 1.01 bar. So these are the values of 1 atmospheric pressure. So under 1 atmospheric pressure, when temperature becomes this, it becomes in the vapor phase, that means gaseous. And now one thing more, that there may be a question in your mind, that why here I am not calling this gas, why I am calling this vapor. So there is a little difference between the vapors and the gases. So that difference is what? What are the gases? What are the vapors? So it's a little difference between them. See, under room temperature conditions, under standard conditions, what are these? So there is a term, standard conditions. Standard conditions. Standard condition implies that 1 atmospheric pressure and 298 K temperature. So under standard conditions, if anything exists in gaseous state, we call gas. But if anything under standard conditions exists in the form of liquids and then it is converted to gaseous state, then such gases are called as vapors. So I am elaborating this thing. Water, the H2O, under standard conditions in majority exist in the liquid state. You all know H2O किस फॉर्म में होता है? H2O is always in the form of liquid. When you convert it, you increase the temperature to 100 degrees Celsius, it has been converted into the gaseous state. So these gaseous states, under such conditions, which are from the liquid state, they are called as vapors. O2, H2, N2, we never call vapors, because under standard conditions, the form of existence of nitrogen is N2 gas. The form of existence of oxygen is oxygen gas. So such things are not called as vapors. Vapors are from the liquids. So that is why here the preferred term to use is the water vapors. So their interconvertibility is on the basis of their temperatures. The temperatures are coming from the transfer of heat. So the broader term here that we have to use is the thermal energy. Thermal energy, thermal means something which is related with the heat, yes. So thermal energy, that means heat. So this interconvertibility depends upon the heat transfer. So when the thermal energy is quite large, in terms of thermal energy, we can say on increase of thermal energy, state of matter tends to be liquid and then finally solid, finally gas. So the reverse is true also. On decrease of thermal energy, the gas will have tendency to convert into the liquid and finally into the solid. The thermal energy is that I called the heat transfer. When you give the heat, the temperature increases, that thermal energy is increased. So what happens in the refrigerator and what happens in the pressure cooker? In the refrigerator, you have taken the water and you put inside the freezer, then what happens? The freezer takes away the heat from this water, it cools down, and when the temperature reaches to 0 degrees Celsius, it converts into the ice. So this exactly happens inside the freezer. But when the same water we put on gas burner, then what happens? Again the temperature increases because of the heat is given from the burner. The temperature increases, and when temperature reaches at the level of 100 degrees Celsius, now the boiling takes place and it converts into the water vapors. So this is the mechanism behind, and this all depends upon this term, the thermal energy. So this term is quite important, and thermal energy is responsible for the repulsive forces. So you can say that increase of thermal energy, that increase of repulsive forces, and increase of repulsive means what? There is a system of the matter, you know that interparticle force of attraction are there. So when the repulsive forces are increasing, then obviously the force of attraction will come down. So as the thermal energy increases, the force of attraction decreases, and therefore state of matter converts from the solid to liquid to gas. So thermal energy is responsible for repulsive forces. And therefore on increase of thermal energy, the attractive forces becomes less, they decrease. So this happens. So now similarly, not only the H2O, there are so many things that can be converted into the different states. Even in the foundry works, in the production of various articles of the metal, the metals are first melt, means they are converted first into the liquid state, and then they go to a particular foundry job, they take a particular shape, and they are again cooled, and they again convert into a particular article. So anything can be converted, yes, but the water is the simplest example, that is why I have taken. Otherwise you can take any of such example. You know, this we call ice. There is one more example of dry ice. You must understand the meaning of dry ice is what. So dry ice is what? You know, CO2 is the gas. When CO2 is cooled to a certain temperature, then it converts into CO2 solid, and this CO2 solid is called as dry ice. So this is dry ice. So this is another example of interconvertibility of the physical states. So let there is a question that what has been happened, how this converted into the CO2 solid from the gas. So definitely we can say that heat is being taken from the gas state, or we can say in the simple language that it is cooled. Cooled means what? Heat is taken away. It is cooled, now it has been converted in the solid state, and that we call dry ice. So there are n number of examples where we see that the states are interconvertible into each other. The only difference is that various things under the standard conditions exist in a particular state of matter, but they are interconvertible. Under the standard conditions, some particular compounds exist as gas like CO2, some particular compounds exist in the liquids like H2O, some particular other compounds exist in the solids like many salts like NaCl, table salt, but all of them are interconvertible. So this feature we have to understand. So what we can conclude about this, that yes, the majority form of existence, major form of existence of anything can be liquid, can be solid, can be gas, but yes, they are interconvertible just on change of their temperature, just on variation in their thermal energy part. Thermal energy is responsible for the repulsive forces. So greater the thermal energy, greater the repulsive forces. So we can say like this, we can write like this, that thermal energy is directly proportional to the repulsive forces. Yes, we can say like this. The another energy which is responsible for the attractive forces, that we call intermolecular energy. So this is another energy that we call intermolecular energy, and this is directly proportional to the attractive forces. So when we increase the temperature, thermal energy increases, and intermolecular energy therefore becomes less and less dominant. So on increase of temperature, because thermal energy increases, so repulsive forces increases, so attractive forces comes down, and therefore state of matter have tendency to convert from solid to liquid to gas, as I have written here. So you can understand this thing, that how and why this happens. So these are the forces, these are the two energies particularly in the nature which are responsible for the state of matter. When the intermolecular energy is quite large, the state of matter becomes solid. When intermolecular energy is quite large than that of thermal energy, this implies that state of matter will be solid. When this difference is there, but the difference is moderate, difference is there, yes, but difference is moderate, then the state of matter in this case becomes liquid. This I can say like this, this I can say like this. And when intermolecular energy is greater but not very large, then state of matter becomes gaseous, and state of matter becomes gaseous. And in case of gases, here you have to write a note that in case of gases, sometimes this intermolecular energy can be equal or can be greater than thermal energy also. So to cover all the aspects together, you can say that it is greater or equal to this, or sometimes it can be less than that of this. So these are the conditions for a particular gas. Means in case of gases, the intermolecular energy is greater or equal to thermal energy, yes, and it can be less than thermal energy also, but these things are never possible in case of solids and in case of liquids. So this is the additional feature of the gaseous state. So you have to understand that what should have been happened if the intermolecular energy is less than thermal energy, and when this situation will arise. So to understand this thing, you must have this idea of the gas molecules. You know that all these gas molecules or any molecules have the electron cloud in their outer periphery. So let's say these are the two gaseous molecules having these electron clouds. So the electron cloud of one gas molecule, I will draw this once more. This is something larger than that of the previous, so I am drawing it again. Let's say we have this gas molecule and this is the electron cloud. Now what forces are working together? This is one force, let's say this is F1, this is another force, let's say this is F2, this is another force, let's say this is F3, and this is another force, let's say this is F4. So what we are looking here, that F1 as well as F2 are repulsive, while F3 as well as F4 are attractive. So when these gas molecules are quite closer, then what happens? When they are quite closer, then what happens? The electron cloud to electron cloud force of repulsion becomes more, and therefore in such circumstances intermolecular energy becomes less than that of the thermal energy, and therefore the dominating force becomes the repulsive force. So yes, this situation is possible only in case of gases, because they can be compressed, their molecules can carried to a smaller distance so that the force of repulsion becomes dominant. But this situation is not possible in case of solids and in case of liquids. So this thing is only for the gaseous state. So this is just the introduction of all the three states and their relation with the thermal energies, and so this we have to discuss in this particular subtopic of the matter, and rest of the matter we will discuss in the another class, in the another lecture. So just have this idea. Okay, thanks.